Chapter 2. Afghan and Turkic Muslim Empires, 6th Dynasty. Ghaznavid Empire, period 977 to 1186, Anno Domini. The rise of the Ghaznavid Empire marked a significant turning point in the history of Muslim rule in the subcontinent. From 977 to 1186, the Ghaznavids shaped political, military, and cultural developments across Afghanistan, Iran, Central Asia, and large parts of the northern Indian subcontinent. Their rule introduced a new phase of expansion driven by Turkish military strength, Persian administrative culture, and Islamic intellectual influence. The dynasty was founded by Sabuktigin, a former slave who rose through the ranks to become the ruler of Ghazni. His leadership laid the foundations of a powerful state, but it was his son, Mahmud of Ghazni, who transformed the Ghaznavid realm into a major empire with far-reaching influence. The Ghaznavids brought a different model of governance compared to the earlier Arab rulers of Sindh. They introduced a Turkish-Persian ruling culture that shaped future Muslim dynasties in the region, including the Ghurids and the Delhi Sultanate. Sabuktigin became the ruler of Ghazni in 977 and began expanding his territory through military and diplomatic means. His early campaigns focused on consolidating control in Afghanistan and defending against rival regional powers. He developed Ghazni into a strong military base and encouraged cultural development. Sabuktigin fought campaigns against the Hindu Shahi rulers of Kabul and parts of Punjab, establishing the Ghaznavids as a rising force on the eastern frontier. His leadership created a disciplined army that would later be used by Mahmud for wider expansion into the subcontinent. When Sabuktigin passed away, Mahmud inherited a well-organized state with a loyal military, a functioning administration, and an opportunity to expand into regions that were politically fragmented and economically attractive. Mahmud of Ghazni is remembered as one of the most powerful Muslim rulers of his era. He combined military ambition with statecraft and cultural patronage. After taking power in 998, he declared independence from the weakening Samanid Empire and sought recognition from the Abbasid Caliph, which gave religious legitimacy to his rule. Mahmud's rule marked the height of the Ghaznavid Empire. He conducted numerous expeditions towards the Indian subcontinent, targeting regions such as Punjab, Multan, and deeper into northern India. His campaigns had several objectives, including weakening rival powers, securing wealth through war spoils, gaining political influence, and promoting Islamic expansion. These expeditions brought Punjab under Ghaznavid control and paved the way for Muslim rule to take firmer root beyond Sindh. One of Mahmud's important achievements was the capture of Lahore, which later became a significant Ghaznavid center of governance and culture. Through his conquests, Mahmud managed to bring large parts of the northwestern subcontinent under his authority. Beyond military activity, Mahmud's reign was known for strong administrative reforms. The empire used Persian as the language of governance, literature, and court culture. This helped spread Persian influence in South Asia, particularly in the fields of literature, art, architecture, and administration. The Ghaznavid state structure combined Turkish military hierarchy with Persian bureaucratic sophistication. This model became a blueprint for later Muslim empires in India. Ghazni, the capital, was transformed into a grand cultural and intellectual center. Mahmud invited scholars, poets, scientists, and historians to his court. One of the most influential figures of this period was al-Biruni, a scholar who wrote about India, its society, languages, sciences, and beliefs with a level of detail unmatched for centuries. His work, produced under Ghaznavid patronage, remains a valuable historical source for understanding medieval India. The poet Ferdowsi also spent time in Mahmud's court and completed parts of the Shahnameh, a monumental Persian epic. The Ghaznavid court, especially during Mahmud's rule, became a symbol of Persian cultural revival, influencing regions far beyond the empire's borders. While Mahmud's military expeditions contributed to his fame, they also shaped future political developments. Punjab became the starting point for Muslim expansion into the subcontinent. The Ghaznavid presence encouraged further interactions between Central Asia and India. Muslim settlers, administrators, merchants, and scholars began arriving in conquered areas, influencing local societies. Although Mahmud's campaigns did not establish deep administrative control in the interior of India beyond Punjab, they opened the way for successors like the Ghurids to advance towards Delhi and eventually lay the foundations of the Delhi Sultanate. After Mahmud's death in 1030, the empire continued under his successors, but internal weaknesses slowly emerged. The Ghaznavid rulers struggled to maintain control of the vast territories acquired during Mahmud's time. Conflicts between heirs, loss of territories in Central Asia to the rising Seljuk Turks, and administrative strain weakened the empire. The Ghaznavids continued to rule parts of Afghanistan and Punjab, with Lahore becoming a major center of their reduced state. However, their military strength declined, and they faced growing pressure from the Ghurids, who were gaining power in the region. By the mid-12th century, the Ghaznavid Empire had lost most territories outside Punjab. Lahore remained their key stronghold. The Ghurid ruler, Muhammad Ghori, eventually defeated the last Ghaznavid ruler and ended their rule in 1186. This marked the end of Ghaznavid power and the rise of the Ghurids, who would soon push further into India and play a direct role in shaping the future political landscape of the subcontinent. The Ghaznavid era holds lasting significance. It acted as a bridge between early Muslim presence in Sindh and the establishment of Muslim rule in northern India. Their introduction of Persian cultural and administrative traditions influenced rulers for centuries. Persian became deeply rooted in the subcontinent's administrative and literary life. Their military campaigns prepared the ground for future Muslim rule beyond Sindh into the heart of India. Through scholarship, culture, trade, and political legacy, the Ghaznavids reshaped the region's direction. Their rule contributed to the formation of a new cultural and political environment that later empowered dynasties such as the Ghurids, Delhi Sultans, and eventually the Mughals. 7th Dynasty, Ghurid Empire, period 1153 to 1215. Anno Domini, the rise of the Ghurid Empire marked a decisive shift in the history of Muslim rule in the subcontinent, creating the bridge between Afghan Central Asian power and the establishment of a strong Muslim political structure in North India. The Ghurids, who ruled from 1153 to 1215, originated from the mountainous region of Ghor in present-day Afghanistan. Their rise came at a time when the Ghaznavid Empire was declining and the Seljuks were losing influence. The Ghurids built their strength gradually, blending military strategy, political ambition, and administrative organization. They eventually achieved what the Ghaznavids could not, establishing a lasting foundation of Muslim rule deep inside the Indian subcontinent, which later evolved into the Delhi Sultanate. The Ghurids emerged from a region that had remained somewhat isolated but had strong warrior traditions. Earlier, the people of Ghor had been influenced by Buddhism, Hinduism, and local belief systems before gradually adopting Islam. By the mid-12th century, the Ghurid leaders consolidated their power and united the region under their authority. Alauddin Hussein, one of the early rulers, expanded Ghurid control and defeated rivals including remnants of the Ghaznavids. However, the most prominent Ghurid rulers who shaped the empire's legacy were Ghiyasuddin Ghori and his brother Muhammad Ghori. Together, they expanded the empire into Iran, Central Asia, and most importantly, northern India. Initially, the Ghurids focused on securing their western and northern borders. They fought wars with the Seljuks and established alliances where necessary. After stabilizing their core region, they turned their attention towards the Ghaznavids, who still controlled parts of Afghanistan and Punjab. The rivalry between the two powers intensified as the Ghurids sought access to the plains of Punjab. In 1186, Muhammad Ghori defeated the last Ghaznavid ruler and ended Ghaznavid control, taking over Lahore. This victory opened the road to further expansion in India. Unlike Mahmud of Ghazni, who carried out repeated raids in India, mainly for resources and short-term control, Muhammad Ghori had a different vision. His aim was not just military plunder, but long-term political rule, administration, and establishment of Islamic governance. The first major confrontation between Muhammad Ghori and the Rajput kingdoms took place in 1191 at the First Battle of Tarain against Prithviraj Chauhan. Muhammad Ghori was defeated and forced to withdraw. However, he returned the following year with a more prepared force and adjusted tactics, leading to the Second Battle of Tarain in 1192. This battle proved to be a turning point in Indian history. Muhammad Ghori's victory broke the dominant Rajput power of North India and paved the way for Muslim political expansion beyond Punjab. After Tarain, the Ghurids rapidly advanced, capturing Delhi and large parts of present-day Haryana, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. Ghori understood that for his rule to last, he needed reliable administrators. Rather than ruling directly from Ghor, he appointed trusted generals and governors to manage Indian territories. One of the most important figures in this phase was Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, a former slave who rose through merit to become Muhammad Ghori's close commander. He was appointed as the governor of the Indian territories and played a key role in consolidating Ghurid authority. Under Aibak, Delhi emerged as the political center for the new Muslim administration in India. The Ghurid model relied on a network of loyal generals who were granted authority to administer and expand territory. This system was based on loyalty, military success, and administrative capability rather than tribal inheritance. It marked the beginning of a pattern that would influence the structure of the Delhi Sultanate in later years. The Ghurids continued their expansion and secured other regions such as Bengal and Bihar. Bakhtiyar Khilji, another Ghurid general, led campaigns into eastern India, capturing areas including Nadia and establishing Ghurid presence in Bengal. These campaigns further expanded the influence of Islam into new regions. With the rapid territorial expansion, cities like Delhi, Ajmer, Lahore, and later Bengal began to see the development of administrative institutions, mosques, learning circles, and trade networks. Though still at an early stage, this laid the groundwork for long-term cultural and religious transformation in North India. While the Ghurids were expanding in the Indian subcontinent, they also faced challenges on other fronts. In the West, they clashed with the Khwarezmian Empire for control in Iran and Central Asia. These conflicts strained their resources. The empire relied heavily on military leadership, and stability often depended on strong rulers. The death of Ghiyasuddin Ghori and later the assassination of Muhammad Ghori in 1206 created a power vacuum. The lack of a clear succession plan led to fragmentation. The empire soon broke into smaller states controlled by various military commanders. However, what might have seemed like the fall of the Ghurids ended up becoming the beginning of a new era in India. Before his death, Muhammad Ghori ensured that Qutb-ud-Din Aibak managed the Indian territories effectively. After Ghori's death, Aibak declared independence, leading to the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate in 1206. Although the Ghurid Empire itself declined, its legacy survived through the Sultanate that would rule North India for more than 300 years. The institutions the Ghurids built, the administrative model they introduced, and the territories they secured became the backbone of later Muslim rule in India under the slave, Khilji, Tughlaq, Sayyid, and Lodi dynasties. The Ghurid period is therefore one of transition and foundation. It represented the shift from occasional raids to organized rule. It brought the subcontinent into closer contact with Central Asian, Persian, and Afghan cultural and political influences. Persian language and administrative culture began spreading under the Ghurids and later flourished under the Delhi Sultans and Mughals. In terms of long-term historical impact, the Ghurids made Muslim rule in India permanent, not temporary. They created the circumstances in which Islamic governance, culture, and scholarship could take root and grow. Their era formed the bridge between the Ghaznavid military expansion and the establishment of a stable Indo-Muslim state that would define the region for centuries. Chapter 3. Delhi Sultanate. 5 Dynasties. The establishment of the Delhi Sultanate in 1206 marked the beginning of a new and lasting phase of Muslim rule in the Indian subcontinent. From its foundation to its fall in 1526, it introduced a structured and expanding Indo-Muslim state that influenced politics, society, culture, law, architecture, administration, and regional identity for centuries. The Delhi Sultanate was not a single dynasty, but a sequence of 5 ruling houses: the Mamluk or slave dynasty, the Khilji dynasty, the Tughlaq dynasty, the Sayyid dynasty, and the Lodi dynasty. Together, they governed for more than 300 years and shaped the political map of North India. The Delhi Sultanate began when Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, a trusted general of Muhammad Ghori, assumed authority after Ghori's death. Aibak laid the foundation of the new state by establishing Delhi as the capital, and although his rule was brief, he initiated the framework of governance that his successors strengthened. His successor, Iltutmish, played a crucial role in consolidating the young sultanate. He secured Delhi, overcame rival claims to power, and gained formal recognition from the Abbasid Caliph, which gave the sultanate legitimacy in the Muslim world. Under Iltutmish, the sultanate expanded into Bihar and Bengal, and Delhi became a vibrant administrative center. He introduced the Iqta system, dividing land into administrative units governed by officers responsible for revenue and military duties. This system remained a key administrative model throughout the Sultanate period. 8 Dynasty, Mamluk, Slave. Dynasty, period 1206 to 1290. Anno Domini the Slave. Dynasty faced challenges after Iltutmish's death, leading to periods of instability before Balban restored authority. Balban strengthened the central authority of the Sultan, reduced the influence of nobles, and created a disciplined court culture. His reign focused on security, especially against Mongol invasions, and he reinforced the idea of monarchy with strict protocol and central control. By the end of the Slave dynasty, the Delhi Sultanate had developed into a functioning kingdom with structured governance, but internal challenges remained. 9 Dynasty, Khilji Dynasty, period 1290-1320, Anno Domini in 1290. Jalal-ud-Din Khilji came to power, starting the Khilji dynasty. The Khiljis expanded the Sultanate beyond North India through ambitious military campaigns. Alauddin Khilji emerged as the most powerful ruler of this dynasty. He controlled the nobility with strict regulations, established price control systems to manage inflation, and reformed markets to support the military. His military successes extended the Sultanate's influence into Gujarat, Rajasthan, and deep into the Deccan. The defense of India against repeated Mongol raids was another notable achievement. Alauddin's strong centralization helped the Sultanate reach a new height of political and territorial influence. 10 Dynasty, Tughlaq. Dynasty, period 620-1414. Anno Domini. After the Khiljis, the Tughlaq dynasty took power in 1320 under Ghiyas-ud-Din Tughlaq. His son, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, introduced ambitious policies, many of which faced difficulties. His experiments, such as shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad and the introduction of token currency, were bold but poorly executed. Despite failures, he attempted to administer an expansive empire stretching across large parts of India. His successor, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, focused on public welfare, constructing canals, hospitals, gardens, and caravanserais. He promoted religious scholarship, reduced harsh taxation, and supported architecture. The Tughlaq period also saw rising regional powers and rebellions as the Sultanate struggled to maintain control over distant provinces. By the early 15th century, the Sultanate's strength declined, and in 1398, Timur's invasion of Delhi dealt it a devastating blow. The city suffered heavy destruction, further weakening the central authority. 11 Dynasty, Sayyid Dynasty, period 1414-1451. Anno Domini, the Sayyid dynasty, which followed the Tughlaqs, ruled from 1414 to 1451. Their rule was a period of recovery rather than expansion. The Sayyids struggled to control regions beyond Delhi and often acted as nominal rulers, maintaining symbolic links with the declining Timurid power in Central Asia. Provincial governors asserted autonomy, and new regional states emerged across India. The Sultanate shrank in territory and influence, with internal and external pressures limiting its power. 12 Dynasty, Lodi Dynasty, period 1451-1526. Anno Domini. When the Lodi dynasty took power in 1451, they attempted to restore the Sultanate's strength. The Lodis were of Afghan origin and brought greater Afghan participation into administration. Bahlul Lodi focused on unity and reconquered territories, strengthening the Sultanate's position in the Punjab and parts of North India. Sikandar Lodi built on this effort by improving agriculture, establishing new towns such as Agra, and promoting administrative efficiency. He encouraged learning and maintained firm control over the nobility. However, the last Lodi ruler, Ibrahim Lodi, faced internal dissent and could not maintain unity. Discontented nobles invited Babur from Central Asia to intervene, and the First Battle of Panipat in 1526 ended the Delhi Sultanate, paving the way for the Mughal Empire. The Delhi Sultanate left a deep and lasting legacy. It transformed Delhi into a major political capital of the subcontinent. It encouraged the fusion of Persian, Central Asian, Turkish, and Indian cultures, influencing language, literature, art, food, dress, and architecture. The spread of Islam increased through gradual integration, migration, trade, and the influence of Sufi saints who became important figures across North India. The Sultanate introduced new architectural forms, including arches, domes, and minarets, seen in structures such as the Qutb Minar and Tughlaq fortresses. Persian emerged as the language of administration and high culture, influencing many South Asian languages, especially Urdu. The administrative systems, revenue structures, and military organization developed during the Sultanate shaped governance patterns used by later dynasties. The Delhi Sultanate acted as a gateway that connected India more closely with the wider Islamic world, promoted new ideas, and created a diverse society. It set the foundations that allowed the Mughal Empire to rise, inherit its systems, and build an even wider and richer Indo-Muslim civilization across the subcontinent.